Number 7. Colin Reeves. On November the 21st of 2021, a former commando killed his neighbors in the village of Norton, Fitzwarren, Somerset, England, following what was reported as a long-running dispute over parking. Chilling footage later released by the authorities would show 35-year-old Colin Reeves jumping over the fence and onto the property of Jennifer and Stephen Chappell, both in their 30s. As the couple's children slept upstairs, he fatally stabbed each of them 6 times with a ceremonial dagger that had been given to him upon leaving the army. Minutes later, Reeves called the police to report the crime, telling a dispatcher, "I went round with a knife. I've stabbed both of them." 10 days before the double homicide, the former soldier had berated Jennifer outside her home following an earlier exchange that she'd had with his wife, Kaylee, about designated parking in the area. After he was taken into custody and during the ensuing trial, Reeves admitted manslaughter but denied murder on the ground of diminished responsibility, maintaining he was not in the right state of mind at the time of the attack. Prior to leaving the army in 2017, Reeves had toured Afghanistan with the Royal Engineers and lost friends in the conflict. Reeves added that he didn't have time to decompress following his tour and insisted that he didn't remember the attack on the Chappells. He told the court he'd been trained to kill and that his instincts were triggered by a bright white flash from a security light on the day. He remembered feeling that he had to protect his family from impending danger. While in prison, he was assessed by a forensic psychologist who determined he suffered from depression, anxiety, and complex post-traumatic stress disorder. Reeves was nevertheless found guilty of murder and sentenced to life in prison with a minimum of 38 years served in June of 2022. Number 6. Tyler Griffiths. After leaving the army, following a service of 4 years, British man Tyler Griffiths developed a serious drug problem and amassed considerable debts in the process. The 22-year-old eventually turned to crime to cover what he owed. On February the 10th of 2019, he wore a balaclava on his face and walked into a mini-market in Halifax, West Yorkshire, armed with a kitchen knife. CCTV captured him instructing a female shop assistant who was working alone to surrender money from a cash drawer after he'd unsuccessfully tried to pry it open. He told the woman, "Don't call the police or I will kill you," before making off with over $800. Griffiths had neglected to cover his hands, which featured distinctive tattoos during the robbery. CCTV photos of him handling the cash were distributed by the authorities and he was soon identified. He was arrested in March and subsequently pleaded guilty to armed robbery, for which he was jailed for 3 years in May. In addition to the robbery, Griffiths also admitted 4 shoplifting offenses: common assault, burglary, possession of cocaine, and possession of a knife. A week after the Halifax robbery and before tips led to the police learning his name, he'd grabbed close to $130 from an unattended cash drawer at a Harrogate shop. While making his escape, he pushed the 75-year-old shop owner into shelving. His lawyer told the court that Griffiths regretted to have squandered his good character and his opportunities in life, and pointed to the drugs as the root cause of his offending. Number 5. Thomas Mixon. On February the 26th of 2018, a former Navy SEAL was arrested by law enforcement in Austin, Texas, in connection to 5 bank robberies in the area, carried out since December of the previous year. During his 8-year service, Thomas Mixon instructed a Navy SEAL conditioning course. In 2007, Austin Fit magazine included him on a list of the city's 10 fittest. Investigators believe that the former soldier's criminal activity began on December the 22nd of 2017, when he robbed the IBC Bank in West Austin. He fled in a dark gray pickup truck and hit the same bank again on January the 5th. The third and fourth robberies happened at the Prosperity Bank on Northland Drive west of Mopac Expressway on February the 1st and the 7th. Witnesses' description of the suspect matched that of the person involved in the previous 2 incidents, while CCTV footage from 2 robberies indicated they'd been committed by the same perpetrator. The last heist took place on the same day that Mixon was arrested, after a witness provided law enforcement with his license plate number. Shortly after he'd fled from Plains Capital Bank on North Mopac, near Palmer Lane, the police took him into custody at his home in northwest Austin. while he was walking towards his truck. Inside the vehicle, they found the black leather satchel that multiple witnesses had spotted on him, and inside his home they found plastic bags identical to the one used in the first robbery. On April the 17th of 2019, Mixon pleaded guilty to 5 federal counts of bank robbery and was sentenced to 97 months in prison with an additional 5 years of supervised release. Number 4. Joseph Manuel Hunter. From 1983 to 2004, Joseph Manuel Hunter served in the U.S. Army, where he led air assault and airborne infantry squads, became a master drill sergeant and a sniper instructor. Hunter left the service as a sergeant first class, prolific in a vast variety of weapons and operational procedures. The man, nicknamed Rambo, subsequently began recruiting former soldiers from international armed forces. He put together an elite team of mercenaries in the early 2010s to serve as bodyguards and assassins for a Colombian cartel. The mercenaries team's activities spanned the globe, from guarding a meeting in Mauritius to securing a ship in the Bahamas that was loaded with close to 700 pounds of cocaine and destined for New York. For his Colombian contacts, Hunter orchestrated a plot to kill a drug enforcement agent and an informant within the cartel. 2 of his accomplices, former German corporal and elite sniper Dennis Gogol and former U.S. Army Sergeant Timothy Van Vakayas, agreed to kill the agent in exchange for $700,000. Unbeknownst to Hunter, his cartel employers were confidential sources to the DEA, who were recording their communication. Hunter was sentenced to 20 years in prison for the assassination plot and other crimes related to the Colombian connection. Gogol and Van Vakayas were also arrested and charged, as were 2 other members of Hunter's team, former Polish counter-terrorism expert Sławomir Zaborowski and former German military sniper Michael Filter. Hunter was given an additional sentence of life in a federal prison in 2019 for a previous contract killing. In 2012, it paid assassins Adam Samir and Carl David Stilwell, both of North Carolina, $35,000 each to kill a woman in the Philippines. He provided them with weapons and information about the unnamed target. Samir and Stilwell executed her on February the 12th of 2012 and then dumped her body on a garbage pile, where it was found by local authorities. After receiving payment, they structured discreet wire transfers back to the U.S. Both were arrested in July of 2015 and, like Hunter, later sentenced to life in prison. Number 3. Craig Woodhall. British health worker Victoria Woodhall was brutally stabbed to death outside her home in Middlecliff, a small hamlet of South Yorkshire, England, on March the 29th of 2020. The woman's husband, former soldier Craig, had a history of controlling and abusive behavior towards her. She'd at one point confided in a friend that he'd thrown her phone and pushed her. After the couple had become estranged, Craig sought reconciliation, but the effort was reportedly interrupted by more hostility, including one incident in which he'd tried to get Victoria arrested over allegedly breaking coronavirus lockdown rules. On March the 29th, the woman's neighbors alerted the authorities that Craig was chasing her around her property. Before law enforcement reached the scene, the former soldier slashed and stabbed the woman with a kukri machete in a gruesome attack that was witnessed by several people. Victoria sustained injuries to the head, neck, and upper body, which proved fatal. Woodhall fled the scene in his car but was later arrested. The 41-year-old admitted murder and in early October of 2020 was jailed for 18 years and 6 months. Today's topic was requested by It's-a-me, Jacob. If you have any other topics you'd like to learn about, subscribe and let us know in the comments section below. Number 2. Benjamin Sifrit. In 1997, Benjamin Sifrit completed the basic underwater demolition SEAL training class 212, but later had his Navy enlisted classification combatant swimmer revoked. He was discharged for poor performance, insubordination, and repeatedly being absent without leave. He also harbored extremist beliefs and had a white supremacist symbol tattooed on his chest. In 1998, he married Erica Elaine Grace when they were both 20 years old and moved near her hometown in Altoona, Pennsylvania. During Memorial Day weekend in 2002, they met another couple, Joshua Ford and Martha Crutchley, who were visiting from Virginia. After partying together at a nightclub in Ocean City, Maryland, the four went back to the Sifrits condominium. While there, they accused the tourists of stealing Erica's purse and threatened them with a gun. Ford fled to the bathroom where he was fatally shot 4 times with a gun, subsequently determined to have been Erica's. Crutchley was murdered as well, but her cause of death remained unclear, with stabbing as the leading hypothesis. The Sifrits cut up the couple and then threw their remains in a dumpster in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, from where they were moved to a landfill and later found by searchers. A few days after the double murder, the Sifrits were caught trying to burglarize a Hooters restaurant, at which point law enforcement found driver's licenses belonging to Ford and Crutchley in Erica's possession. She would tell law enforcement that her former soldier husband had come up with the idea to rob and kill the tourists. During Benjamin's 2003 trial, a woman named Melissa Selling told the court that the Sifrits had put her through the same ritual as they had the slain tourists, but she'd managed to avoid being killed by them. Benjamin was only found guilty of second-degree murder for Crutchley's death and given a sentence of 38 years in prison. Erica was found guilty of Ford's first-degree murder and Crutchley's second-degree murder, for which she was sentenced to life plus 20 years. Number 1. Eddie Ray Routh. During his service as a U.S. Navy SEAL sniper, Chris Kyle served 4 tours in the Iraq War and was awarded numerous commendations for acts of heroism, including the Silver Star. He had over 150 confirmed kills throughout his service, becoming the most prolific sniper in the history of the U.S. military. After being honorably discharged in 2009, he published his best-selling autobiography, American Sniper, which was later made into an eponymous movie. Kyle also dedicated his time towards working with veterans. On February the 2nd of 2013, he and his friend, 35-year-old Chad Littlefield, went to a shooting range in Erath County, Texas. They'd taken 25-year-old Eddie Ray Routh, a U.S. Marine Corps veteran, with them, hoping the trip would help with his post-traumatic stress disorder. It served for 7 years, including in Baghdad, and had been honorably discharged in 2011. Routh was in and out of hospitals for the following 2 years, experiencing PTSD from his time in the military, as well as auditory hallucinations and paranoia, which clinicians determined were connected to drugs and alcohol abuse. He was offered inpatient treatment at a veterans hospital, but declined and stopped taking his medication. As they were heading to the shooting range, Kyle texted Littlefield, "This dude is straight up nuts," referring to Routh, to which Littlefield replied by asking the former sniper to watch his back. Upon reaching their destination, the two went downrange to set up targets. Moments later, Routh opened fire on them, using 2 handguns owned by Kyle. The latter and Littlefield had pistols on them, but they were holstered and with the safety on. They didn't have time to react and was shot dead. Routh was caught by Texas authorities after engaging them on a short freeways chase while driving Kyle's Ford F-350 truck. He was held on 2 counts of capital murder. A few months after the incident, while in jail, he told the deputy that he'd shot the 2 men because they hadn't talked to him, adding, "I'm sure they've forgiven me." During Routh's trial, his defense argued he'd been insane at the time of the killings, but 2 forensic psychologists testified to say they believe he was faking schizophrenia. One of them opined that he suffered from paranoid personality disorder exacerbated by drugs and alcohol. He was eventually found guilty of murder and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Thanks for watching. For a month, would you rather have to perform daily tasks with a drill sergeant yelling in your ear or have to walk around in cement shoes? Let us know in the comments section below.